I was still wearing my dress. I want you to remember that image, because everything I'm about to tell you happened because of those 15 seconds. 15 seconds that ended a 5-year relationship. 15 seconds that started the quietest, coldest revenge you will ever hear about. Stay with me, because by the end of this story, you're going to understand exactly why I never raised my voice once. Not one single time. And why that was the most dangerous thing about me. Let me take you back to the beginning, so you understand what I lost that day, and what I built afterward. I met Daniel when I was 23. He was funny, in that dry, understated way that made you feel like you were the only one who got the joke. He worked in finance. Nothing flashy. Steady. Reliable. The kind of man your mother approves of after one dinner. We dated for 3 years before he proposed. It was quiet. A walk along the river. A ring he'd clearly saved for months to afford. I cried. I said yes before he even finished the sentence. My best friend, Bianca, screamed so loud when I called her that my ears rang for an hour. Bianca and I had been friends since university. She was the maid of honor at every version of this wedding I'd ever imagined in my head. She helped me pick the venue. She sat with me at 3 in the morning, gluing invitations by hand because I refused to pay extra for pre-sealed envelopes. She held my hand at every dress fitting. I trusted her with everything. I trusted her with him. That should have been the first warning sign, if I'm honest. The way she always seemed to know Daniel's schedule better than I did. The way she'd laugh a half-second too long at his jokes. The way she started showing up to things she wasn't technically invited to. The wedding day itself was perfect. That's the cruelest part. If you'd asked me at 2 in the afternoon, I would have told you it was the happiest day of my life. The ceremony was outdoors, under a wooden arch wrapped in white flowers. My father cried walking me down the aisle, which he swore he wouldn't do. Daniel cried too, when he saw me. I remember thinking, this is real. This is actually happening. 5 years of waiting, and it's finally here. We said our vows. We kissed. Everyone cheered. My mother hugged me so tight I nearly lost my breath. The reception moved inside as the sun went down. String lights. A live band. My grandmother dancing with my new husband while I watched from the head table. Feeling like my chest might actually burst from happiness. Around 9 o'clock, I went looking for my phone. I'd left it in the coat closet near the entrance, tucked inside my overnight bag with a few other things. I opened that closet door expecting to find my phone. Instead, I found my husband of 4 hours with his hands in Bianca's hair, and her wedding guest dress hiked up around her hips, and neither of them noticing the door had opened at all. I didn't scream. I want you to understand that. I didn't scream, I didn't cry, I didn't say a single word. I just stood there, in my wedding dress, watching the 2 people I loved most in the world betray me in a coat closet 20 feet from where 300 guests were toasting to our future. Something in me went very, very quiet in that moment. Not broken. Quiet. Like a switch had flipped. Daniel finally noticed me. His face went white. Bianca gasped and yanked her dress down, stammering something that started with Charlotte, it's not. I closed the door. I actually closed the door, gently, like I hadn't seen anything at all. Then I walked back into my own wedding reception, picked up a glass of champagne from a passing waiter, and smiled for photos with my grandmother for the next 20 minutes. If you're wondering how someone does that, I'll tell you. You do it because your brain hasn't caught up with your heart yet. The shock hadn't hit. The grief hadn't hit. All that was there in that moment was a strange, icy clarity. I remember thinking one sentence, over and over, like a heartbeat. They think I don't know. And that thought became the most powerful weapon I've ever held. But we need to pause here for a second, because you need to understand what happened next wasn't rage. It wasn't a scene. It wasn't smashed wine glasses or slapped faces in front of 300 witnesses. It was something far colder. And it took me 11 months to finish. Stick around, because what I did to them didn't just end a marriage. It ended 2 lives as they knew them. And neither Daniel nor Bianca ever saw it coming, because I made absolutely sure of that. For the rest of that reception, I played my part perfectly. I danced with my father. I cut the cake. I threw the bouquet. Bianca caught it, if you can believe that. She caught my wedding bouquet 40 minutes after I caught her with my husband's hands in her hair. I smiled when she caught it. I actually smiled. Daniel avoided me for most of the night, terrified, I think, that I'd expose him in front of everyone. Little did he know, exposing him that night wasn't even close to what I had planned. We left for our hotel suite around midnight. The moment the door closed behind us, Daniel started talking fast, the way guilty people do. It didn't mean anything. It was the champagne. Bianca kissed him first. He was going to tell me eventually. On and on, sentence after desperate sentence. I need to sleep. That was it. I turned off the light and lay there in the dark, wide awake, while my brand new husband whispered apologies to my back for 2 hours. I didn't sleep that night. Not 1 minute. But I wasn't crying either. I was planning. By morning, I had already decided something important. I was not going to react like a woman scorned. I was going to react like a woman with a plan. Because scorned women get pitted. Planned women get results. The next morning, Daniel made me breakfast. Eggs, toast, coffee, exactly the way I like it. He set it in front of me with shaking hands, like a man trying to bribe his way out of a crime scene. I thanked him. I ate it. I even complimented the coffee. He had no idea that the woman calmly eating breakfast across from him had already started rehearsing, in her head, exactly how she was going to take everything he thought he'd hidden and lay it out in the open, piece by piece, at a time of her choosing. That's the thing nobody tells you about betrayal. The moment right after you find out isn't actually the most dangerous moment for the person who hurt you. The most dangerous moment is the one right after that, the quiet one, where you decide what kind of person you're going to become in response. Here's where I need you to lean in, because the next part of this story is the part most people skip. Everyone wants to jump straight to the revenge. But the revenge only works because of what I did in the weeks that followed. The quiet weeks. The waiting weeks. I didn't leave immediately. I know that surprises people. But leaving immediately would have tipped my hand. Instead, I stayed. I acted like a woman trying to save her marriage. I suggested couples counseling. I asked Daniel careful, gentle questions about what happened. And he answered every single one, thinking I was healing. I wasn't healing. I was gathering. Every guilty confession he gave me at 2 a.m, I remembered. Every detail about how long it had been going on, I filed away. It turned out this wasn't a one-time slip at the wedding. It had been going on for 4 months. Since the engagement party, in fact. Bianca had been sleeping with my fiancé, while helping me choose my wedding flowers. For months. Under my roof, at my own bridal shower, sitting across from me at dinner with that same warm, familiar smile. I asked Daniel to write everything down for our counselor. A full timeline, every hotel, every excuse he'd used to sneak away. He did it willingly, believing it was the first step toward forgiveness. It wasn't forgiveness. It was evidence. Meanwhile, I did something else. Something Daniel never expected. I started quietly documenting our finances. You see, Daniel worked in finance, but I was the one who actually managed our joint accounts, because he didn't have time for the details. Convenient in hindsight, because that gave me full visibility into everything. Every transaction. Every hotel charge that didn't match his supposed business trips. Every dinner receipt for 2, on nights he told me he was working late. I printed every single one. I built a folder. Then I built a second folder, on Bianca. Bianca worked as an event coordinator, and part of her job involved handling vendor payments for weddings, including mine. I found 3 separate instances where she'd padded invoices from our own vendors and quietly pocketed the difference. Nearly $6,000 stolen from my own wedding budget, by my own maid of honor, to fund secret hotel stays with my fiancé. She hadn't just betrayed me emotionally. She'd stolen from me financially while doing it. I want you to sit with that for a second, because this is the moment my quiet, icy calm turned into something sharper. Something with an actual shape. Because now I didn't just have a cheating husband. I had documented fraud. And documented fraud doesn't care about apologies. But I still wasn't ready to move. Not yet. I needed one more piece. I needed proof that this wasn't a one-time mistake made in a moment of weakness. because Daniel's entire defense strategy depended on that lie. It was one night. It was a mistake. We got caught up. So I did something that surprised even me. I got a burner phone, downloaded an anonymous messaging app, and reached out to Bianca pretending to be someone else. A friend, who'd apparently seen her with a man at a hotel bar, and wanted to check she was okay. Bianca, thinking she was talking to a concerned stranger, spilled everything. The whole affair, in her own words, timestamped, screenshotted. She even sent a photo of herself and Daniel from a hotel room 2 weeks after my wedding day. 2 weeks after he promised me, sobbing, that it was over. That screenshot was the final piece. Now, I know some of you watching this are thinking, why didn't she just leave right then and blow it all up? And that's a fair question. But revenge that's rushed is revenge that's messy. Messy revenge gets you labeled the crazy ex-wife. Clean revenge gets you your life back, and takes theirs at the same time. I wanted clean. So here's what I did next, and this is where the story really begins. I filed for divorce quietly, through a lawyer, on grounds of infidelity, backed by 4 months of documented evidence, including financial records and communications. In my state, that mattered because it affected asset division. Daniel had cheated, lied, and hidden money. That meant the prenup he'd insisted on, the one designed to protect his family's business if we ever split, suddenly worked against him instead of for him, because it contained an infidelity clause his own lawyer had added, thinking it would never apply to him. He signed that prenup smiling, certain he'd never need it. I served him divorce papers on a random Tuesday morning, at his office, in front of his coworkers. Not because I wanted a scene, because I wanted it undeniable on the record, and impossible for him to spin into a private matter we're working through. His face when the process server called his name, but Daniel wasn't the only one getting served that week. Bianca worked for a well-known event planning company, the kind that depended entirely on trust and reputation. Brides hired them because they believed their money was safe in Bianca's hands. I sent my documented evidence of the padded invoices, the stolen $6,000, directly to her employer, along with the anonymous messages where she'd unknowingly confessed to the affair and effectively confirmed the timeline of when the theft occurred. I didn't need to add a single dramatic word. The receipts did all the talking. Bianca was fired within a week. Not quietly either. In an industry built on word of mouth and reputation, an event coordinator caught stealing from a client's wedding budget doesn't just lose a job. She loses an entire career. But I wasn't finished. Because financial consequences alone weren't enough. I needed Daniel and Bianca to understand something deeper. I needed them to lose the thing they valued most, which wasn't money. It was image. Both of them had spent years building a certain reputation. Daniel, the reliable, trustworthy finance guy everyone respected. Bianca, the warm, dependable best friend everyone adored. That reputation was their currency. And I was about to spend every last cent of it. I didn't post an angry rant online. I didn't tag anyone in a dramatic breakup story. That's what people expect from a betrayed bride, and expected moves are easy to dismiss. Instead, I let the truth travel the way truth actually travels. Quietly, through the people who mattered most. I called my mother-in-law first. Not to complain. To simply explain calmly why the marriage had ended. And to share the timeline, dates, and evidence, because she deserved to know why her son's marriage collapsed 4 months after it began. Daniel's mother, it turned out, had never liked Bianca. She'd always thought there was something off about how close she was to Daniel. When I confirmed her suspicions with actual proof, she didn't defend her son. She was disgusted by him. I told my own parents everything too. My father, a quiet, calm man himself, said one sentence I'll never forget. You don't need to raise your voice for people to hear the truth. You just need to be patient enough to let them hear it. I took that advice seriously. People started putting the pieces together on their own. By the time the story had fully spread, Daniel wasn't the sympathetic, betrayed groom trying to rebuild his life. He was the man who cheated with his fiancé's best friend for 4 months, including during their engagement, and got caught the day of his own wedding. And Bianca wasn't the tragic best friend who fell in love unexpectedly. She was the maid of honor who stole from the wedding she was supposed to be planning, to fund an affair with the groom. Neither of those stories needed exaggeration. The truth alone was devastating enough. Now here's the part that I think surprises people most, the part where karma stopped being something I orchestrated and started happening entirely on its own. Daniel and Bianca, having lost their reputations within their old circle of friends and family, did what people in that position often do. They doubled down on each other. They moved in together within 3 months, likely trying to convince themselves and everyone else that the affair had been true love all along, not just a betrayal. But relationships built on the wreckage of someone else's trust rarely survive contact with real life, because the very thing that made their relationship exciting, the secrecy, the sneaking around, the thrill of getting away with something, disappeared the moment they didn't have to hide anymore. Without me to betray, without a wedding to sabotage, they had to actually be together. Just the two of them. And it turns out, 4 months of secret hotel visits does not prepare you for the reality of shared bills, shared stress, and a relationship built on a foundation of proven dishonesty. I heard, through the same mutual friends who once whispered about the scandal, that within a year, Daniel had also been caught being unsure and distant, showing the same secretive patterns Bianca herself had helped create with him. Suddenly Bianca found herself on the other side of exactly what she'd done to me. People who build a relationship on lies rarely learn how to stop lying once the relationship changes hands. Someone once told me that karma isn't a person waiting in the wings with a checklist, ready to punish everyone who deserves it. Karma is just consequences, playing out on their own timeline, whether we're watching or not. I didn't need to hurt Daniel or Bianca myself. I just needed to stop protecting them from the truth. Once I stopped covering for them, stopped smoothing things over, stopped being the reason their secrets stayed buried, the truth did the rest of the work on its own. There's a strange kind of peace in that. In realizing you don't have to be cruel to be effective. You just have to stop being merciful to people who never showed you any. I won't pretend that karma delivered some cinematic, perfectly poetic ending, because real life rarely does. But I will tell you this. Daniel lost his job eventually too. Not because of the affair directly, but because the same lack of integrity that let him cheat on his fiancée for 4 months eventually caught up with him professionally as well. People who cut corners in their personal life often cut corners everywhere else. Bianca, last I heard, had to leave the industry entirely and start over in an unrelated field, rebuilding a reputation from absolute zero in a city where wedding planning circles are small and unforgiving. And me? I want to pause here because this part matters more than any of the consequences Daniel and Bianca faced. This part is actually the whole point of the story. Because for the first 6 months after the divorce was finalized, I wasn't thinking about revenge anymore. I was thinking about grief. About how strange it is to mourn someone who's still alive. About how you can hate a person completely and still miss the version of them you fell in love with. I went to therapy. Real therapy. Not the version I used to gather evidence during our fake reconciliation attempt. I talked through the betrayal, the humiliation, the anger I never let myself express in the moment, because I was too busy staying calm and collecting proof. Slowly, I started rebuilding. Not around revenge. Around myself. I moved into a small apartment on my own for the first time in 5 years. I redecorated it exactly the way I wanted, with zero compromise, because there was no one left to compromise with. I picked up an old hobby I'd abandoned for the relationship, painting, and found out I actually still loved it. I reconnected with friends I'd drifted from during the wedding planning chaos, people who, it turned out, had never fully trusted Bianca either, but never said anything because they didn't want to cause drama before my big day. A year later, almost to the day of that wedding, I stood in my own apartment, looking at a painting I'd finished that morning, and realized something important. I wasn't angry anymore. Not because Daniel and Bianca had been punished enough, though they had. Not because karma had done its job, though it had. But because somewhere in that 11 months of quiet, calculated response, I had rebuilt an entire life that no longer needed either of them in it. That's the part revenge stories rarely tell you. The satisfaction doesn't come from watching someone else fall apart. It comes from realizing you're finally standing on solid ground while they're still figuring out how to stand at all. I think about that coat closet sometimes. That 15 seconds. And I no longer feel the icy shock I felt that night. I feel something closer to gratitude, strange as that sounds. Because that 15 seconds showed me exactly who Daniel and Bianca really were. On the one day they had every reason to hide it. And it forced me to become someone stronger than I ever thought I could be. If there's one thing I want you to take from this story, it's this. You don't need to scream to be heard. You don't need to destroy yourself trying to destroy someone else. The coldest, most effective response to betrayal isn't rage. It's patience. It's evidence. It's letting people's own choices catch up to them, in their own time, while you quietly build a life so solid, their betrayal becomes irrelevant to it. Daniel and Bianca thought they got away with something in that coat closet. If this story resonated with you, if you've ever been betrayed by someone you trusted completely, I want you to do 3 things right now. Subscribe to this channel, because we tell real stories like this every single week. Drop a comment below and tell me, would you have reacted the way I did, quiet and calculated? Or would you have confronted them right there in that hallway? And if you know someone who needs to hear this story today, someone rebuilding after a betrayal of their own, send this to them. Because here's the truth I want you to carry with you after this video ends. The people who hurt you are rarely punished by your anger. They're punished by your growth. Live well. Build something beautiful. Let your peace be the loudest thing they ever have to face. I'm Charlotte. And this is how I got my life back.